Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today we are talking about, it is Thursday, live action review Thursday. We are into the only two-part episode of Ultraman, the original Ultraman series, 26 and 27, called The Prince of Monsters or Monster Prince. It's not Kaiju Oji, which was a television series later on by P Productions, which is pretty fun, but this is a whole different story. This is about Gomora, which is just sad. This poor monster. Got to feel sorry for it. And let's see. It is this first episode was directed January 8th, 1967. Premiered January 8th, 1967. Directed by Hajime Tsuburaya. That would be Hajime would be Eiji's son, and was written by Tetsuyo Kinji and Bunzo Wakatsuki. Koichi Takano directed the special effects. So, and then, of course, the part 2 was aired the following week on January 15th, 1967. Everybody, same thing. So, all the same characters, principals. I think there's only really one. There's two. There, Professor Nakaya, who was Kotaro Tomita, played by Kotaro Tomita, and then Osamu Suzuki is the little kid. The Prince of Monsters was played by Chiharu Inayoshi. And his parents are in there, but they're just annoying stereotypes. Let's see. Gomora was played by Kunio Suzuki, and of course, Bin Furuya played Ultraman. All right, so before we get too much further in here into this, let's please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you want to, hit that bell and to be notified whenever you get more content every day. Also, if you, just watch a couple more minutes longer. It really helps the algorithm. Thank you. I'll make that short, and we'll just get right into this. If you've got your big old bowl of hummus of perfection. Probably could have skipped this part, really. But so we start out, there's, old smoggy Tokyo, even in 1967, as Osamu and his friends, or at least acquaintances, are making fun of him, which you can kind of see why. I mean, as much as I love monsters, I didn't go around wearing especially a mask of Gongo. Geez, of all the monsters. But he's a talented little kid. He drew it, and his mom is not impressed with his artistic ability. She wants him to do math and stuff, and blah. Really, I mean, the kid's got some talent here. They should really help him and encourage him with that. I mean, manga is a big thing even by now, because Tezuka-san was making lots of money, and everybody else was drawing. So I don't understand exactly. You're getting a kind of a mixed message here. All right, and then so he tells her that he's gonna be a better student and work hard in math and whatever else they're studying. Kids are studying then, reading, writing, arithmetic. But as you can see, he's dreaming about monsters. Which, I mean, which one of us hasn't done that? I love this picture. Probably should use it as but. So they're on, the Science Patrol is helping out an expedition. And let me see if I can find out. I knew with this scroll, Johnson Islands. And that's the Sufan plant that we saw with the first Red King episode. Still hungry for people. And Ito's there. And then they find Gomora, which is called Gahora in the English dub, which is, I mean, I guess they didn't want him to think of Sodom and Gomorrah, but how many kids are even going to care or knew about Sodom and Gomorrah or wanted to know about Sodom and Gomorrah? So Gomorrah's there. He breaks out of his hibernation and he lays down and goes to sleep, really. But since Gomorrah is suddenly In the news, Osamu's a big hit now. Those are friends for you. Obviously, again, he's got talent. Kid's talented artist, I think. And Gomorrah lays down and goes to sleep. He's not bothering anybody. He's an old monster. His nickname is the ancient monster Gomorrah, I believe. Where is that? Let's see. There it is. Etymology. Holy Bible. Yeah. Anyway, the subtitle is Ancient Monster Gomorrah. I'm quite sure. Oops. Let's go back here. Get over to the right page. Nope. Denied. Oh, are you kidding me? Sorry about that. But then they decide that they need to capture him. Instead of first, Ito just wants to blast him because Ito's kind of a jerk when he sees monsters. But they stop him and say, "Let's take him to civilization," because taking a monster to a major metropolitan area never goes wrong in the history of ever. I mean, yeah. So they put him. I like the beams here. They put him to sleep, but Ito just like zapping monsters with his gun. But I like how it's circular, but it's got a beam inside of it, so it really bothers Gomorrah. And they've got their tranquilizer. They shoot him twice. There's the second one. There's in the shoulder. Down he goes. He's back asleep. Why'd they wake him up? I mean, why didn't they just leave him there? You could learn a whole lot more about him in his natural habitat, but it's the 60s, and that's just what you did. There they go. But, I mean, I don't know what he's supposed to weigh. I mean, more than 16 tons, I guess. What the hell? There we go. Weight 20,000 tons. So, yeah, you load 20,000 tons, and what do you get? You don't know how much drugs you need to shoot him. So he's going to wake up. Spoiler alert. The kids, on the other hand, they want to see the monster when he lands. And they're like, no, go home. They sneak around anyway, because kids will be kids. Gomorrah wakes up. They cut him loose, and he lands on the ground because he's tough. He's surviving, but he's a little annoyed. And the army comes out. Now, Ultraman always used the exact right amount of army, civilian, actors as army people to make it look like there was a lot more than there were. So you think, okay, here's what they are now, and then they'd have their miniature tanks and everything. So you think there's a bunch of them. It's good shooting there. Once again, Ito's just blasting away at Gomorrah for no apparent reason because he's awake and annoyed, and now he's really annoyed. Uh-oh, Gomorrah can tunnel underground. Didn't see that one coming now, did you, Science Patrol and Dr. whatever your name is, Professor Nakaya? Should have left him on there. And they're worried about where Gomorrah is going to come up. And here's some nice shots of Tokyo, but fortunately he comes up in a pretty empty area where they're building new things, where Osamu and his friend are playing Ultraman versus the monster. And Osamu's playing the monster, or the Ultraman. Go figure. And it's like Antlar, whenever he has to displace a large amount of dirt when he comes up. There he is. And Osamu somehow he knows the Ultraman or Hayata using the beta capsule. Osamu does not become Ultraman, but he yells for him constantly. And Ultraman flies in. You don't see a transformation sequence. He just flies in, which is kind of neat. That rarely happens. And he fights Gomorrah. And unfortunately, Gomorrah just beats the stuffing out of him and also beats the beta capsule out of him. This is never explained. I don't think it's explained in the Japanese dub. But there's the beta capsule. I mean, you never know what happens to the beta capsule. I'm trying to see if it says anything in here. It talks about how it was originally a one part and then they expanded it to two. Let's see. Nope, they're just not going to talk about it. Anyway, it's a Gomorasaurus. Gengo mask. Yeah. So Ultraman has to fly away and leave. But fortunately, Osamu picks it up and gets it away and takes the beta capsule. More fighting ensues. The color timer is blinking, and Gomora just walks all over. I mean, literally stomps a mud hole in him and walks across him. It's what he does. So Ultraman suffers a defeat, and apparently those claws were sharp and hard to begin with, so he was getting buffeted. Yeah, again, nothing about it being why the why the beta capsule flew out of him. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But can't think about it too much. And away he goes. And Ultraman flies away. Osamu yells at him, and his parents probably beat his ass for being in danger. So there's part one, and now. Ultraman, Ultraman, here he comes from the sky. So we get a second part, of course. There's a recap of about five minutes or so, or 4 to 5 minutes of the first one. So here we go, and we start back over. Look at that cool looking car. Can't even tell. I thought that said "you" there, but I don't think it does. Now, Hayata can't turn into Ultraman because he doesn't have the beta capsule. It seems like it's a MacGuffin there. It's a gimmick, so that they don't have to keep. So he has to keep him from being ultra powerful, too powerful like Superman. Same thing with the color timer. If he's just stays Ultraman, he just go around destroying the monsters right away. It's no fun that way. Got to have some drama. So we don't know what's going to happen. Anyone that watched that first episode would be like, how's he going to turn into Ultraman? Is that dumb little kid going to help him out? The world may never know. And in syndication, you may not see that next episode ever. That's just how things worked back then. So Gomora comes back up in the middle of the city. We get to see a nice little rampage here. Once again, Ito's just blasting away at him and just annoying him further. I mean, why do you provoke? It's like provoking a bull. So you don't see a lot of the shots, the ray guns and the spider shots and the gamma guns hitting him. They kind of cheat at that, but eventually they managed to sever his tail. This probably did hurt, but I would also think that they probably would say it would grow back because he's a reptile, and some of them have that property. And it seems like anytime a giant reptile gets loses his tail, it'll grow back. Look at Reptilicus; it grew back into a whole other monster. The tail did. I don't think Gomora's tail did that. It did hop. There's a scene where it hops around on its own, still quivering because it's still got nerve endings going. Osamu's parents want to leave, and he's like, look, he's got all these toys. He's got Ultraman toys. So it's a little weird when you see toys of a super being right away, and monsters. There's a Kanegon on the picture on his desk as well. And why would they make? I mean, what kind of capitalistic, Bandai and whoever that else was, would just make figures right away? I mean, the monsters, of course, but since these monsters are destroying towns and buildings and cars and probably killing people, you'd think you wouldn't want to have figures of those around. But I probably would have. So we're into the second episode, part 2 here. They're still trying to contain Gomora and maybe try to get him knocked unconscious and take him back to the island he came from. However, they don't know that Ultraman can't show up now. So in this scene here, Captain Mura is talking on the phone to New York looking for more of the tranquilizer. And he speaks in very phonetic English, but passable. You can understand it if you're, Western, you would understand what he's saying. But they don't have any more, so he's out of luck. I mean, they can't do anything. They can't knock him back out. And now we've got the army. I like this forced perspective shot here. And lots of fire, fire, fire. I think. And Osamu tells one of the guards that he's got to give this to one of the science patrol. So they say, okay, let's take you there. And I don't know if that's a Tommy Castle again. That castle just gets the stuffing beat out of it. Let's see. Osaka Castle, pardon me. But yeah, it gets wiped out. It's a lovely miniature there, and Gomora just tears it apart. So I think it'd be fun, even if you're wearing a 100-pound monster suit to break apart that. And both. Oh, that's Arashi and Ito just firing. There's a nice process shot there with the two actors live action, and he's still going at that castle. Hayata's got this gun who's zapping him and not phasing him one bit, although he does manage to blast off Gomora's nose horn. So he's lost one horn. Osamu finally gets to Hayata and gives him the beta capsule. And, the other two guys are running away. Another process shot, just lovely. And using the beta capsule, Hayata becomes Ultraman. I mean, is that where he stores his energy? Is that what the essence of Ultraman? There's questions here. I should probably look up why Ultraman had a beta capsule in the first place, aside from marketing, because it's just really cool, and I would probably buy one if I could. And now we have the final battle. So without his tail, because that's part of what helped him beat the stuffing out of Ultraman, Judo Chop. Gomora can't fight him as well because he has lost a major weapon. And Osamu, Arashi, and Ito find him, and they put him in a headlock to get him away from the monster. The kids, his relative could be Toshio from from Gamera, Giant Monster Gamera, because they're kind of kooks, to use August Ragoni's term. The kid's a real kook. More wrestling going on. He breaks off the horn and zaps him using with the Spacium beam. And the poor monster lies down and dies. And that's it for Gomora, who is the toughest monster Ultraman ever fought. I don't care why. I don't know why people think Red King is, but Gomora is way tougher. He actually beat Ultraman, and Red King never did that. Of course, Gomora would show up later on because he was too popular to not have him, but he would not show up again until the Six Ultra Brothers versus the Monster Army, the Thailand movie. It's non-canon, of course. I really wanted to like this one because it just seemed like it'd be fun. But that was in the 70s. He wouldn't turn up again until Ultraman 80 in episode 22. And has a lot more powers. And I don't remember, he's called Gomora too, but he's more powers, can shoot rays and things. A very sickly looking Gomora shows up in Ultraman, the Ultimate Hero. And he looks great in Ultraman Max. And then, of course, Mebius, he's in there because he couldn't do a 40th anniversary without him. And then the Mega Monster Battles and the Ultraman Zero movies because he's the hero, finally. And then other things I haven't seen. But Hayata thanks Osamu for getting the beta capsule and makes him promise to study. And he actually gives him a little Science Patrol pin so they can keep in contact. And so you can see more monsters here. And then he's drawing Ultraman beating, zapping Gomora. And I feel bad for Gomora because they could have just left him alone on the island. We don't know if he can swim, so he probably would have just stayed there. And who knows what he ate. And this the tower here. And let's go back. It's a famous tower. That was what they used for the base. But that's the setting sun. The menace has been defeated. The city is safe until next episode. And that is our episode for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I do feel sorry for Gomora. He's one of my favorite Ultra monsters. I did have a figure of him once. I'd like to get another one at some point in time, just because it's that cool. And I am using that word correctly. But, my fellow agents, until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off. Take it away, Serendipity Singers. Comes from a billion miles away from a distant planet land.
the hero Ultraman.